Hey guys, welcome back to After Hours with me, Jimmy Thistle. This actually is going to be episode 53. I think I had already one. I had Ash's episode in place, ready to go, and then I noticed that she was having a bit of a social media blackout. I think possibly through January. Haven't heard back from her yet, so I just decided to put her episode on hold until she's back, because it's if you're away from social media and you've got an episode drop and you want to kind of be around to kind of hear the feedback and see the results and things like that. So and obviously people commenting, giving you feedback, so you want to kind of respond and reply to that. So I've just put a kind of hold on Ash's episode for now. And today we have Amy Devine. Amy's, yeah, I mean, you'll see. I'm not gonna let the cat out of the bag, but where she lives just looks absolutely amazing. I had no idea until we kind of started chatting before the episode came out, before we started recording the episode. So I'll leave that little, and this is why people need to be watching on YouTube, not on Spotify, unfortunately, anymore, but on YouTube, because she gives us a little tour of the scenery around her place that she lives. So it's absolutely stunning. So if you're only listening on audio, apologies. Get on over to YouTube and start watching. But yeah, Amy, she had quite a kind of unhappy childhood. There was lots of violence, alcohol. Her mum and dad split up, so like I think most of her summer holidays were spent in Ireland, where her dad had moved back to. He was from there, so it was a kind of a bit of a mixed up childhood with, as I say, alcohol. She started drinking. She said from an early age, like 11 was when she got, I think she said, the drunkest she's ever been, and her little brother actually found her walking home. She'd get kind of lost on a roundabout or whatever. This was kind of in the morning, not like middle of the night or anything like that. And her brother was even younger than her. Got her home, so at least she was safe. But just kind of carnage from an early age. As I say, then there was a basically her house burnt down, so they had to move to a kind of council estate. She had to move school. Lots of just upheaval, and that's really when the kind of drinking and drugs kind of, I guess, took hold. She even was starting to get kind of jokey names, that like Amy was the one that was kind of always drinking, always drunk. And this was like 14, 15, 16, hanging about kind of, the youth club and whatnot, things that, the majority of us have kind of done. And I did a lot of that, hanging about youth clubs and drinking and stuff. But Amy was kind of, she did strive to kind of, she never wanted to quit anything. Obviously she quit drinking and drugging later, but with kind of, when it came to like education and that, she wanted to really strive and get out of the situation she was in. Ended up going to university, I think, to do like sociology, psychology, criminology, and just really, embraced it. But as she said, she kind of had that kind of head start into the drinking and drugging, because a lot of people were fresh faced doing it for the first time, whereas she had this kind of, almost kind of experience and eliteness in it. So it was kind of good to respect. But after uni, she then went to China, and I will leave the intro there, because China is just really where it kind of went a little bit hell for leather as well, even though it sounds like it was already kind of hell for leather for her growing up. But yeah, as she went to China, things started kind of, she had a good time there, but things started unraveling as she got older. So yeah, thanks for all the comments, guys. And I will mention, I got it's called fan mail on Buzzsprout now. You'll hear about this in the episode with Ash as well. But I have no way of replying to those messages. Basically, it's there's a little text message in my show notes or whatever, and it says, let us know what you think, and people press it and it sends like, an anonymous message. So I have no way of getting back to the person that sent me this lovely message for myself and Alicia. all they said was they're from Ireland and it has 4 digits of their mobile number. So I have no idea who they are, what their name is, but I think they said they were like on 6 days sober at that point. So that would have been last week. We're on the 11th of January now. So, probably doing dry January. So good luck. Message me on Instagram or whatever, so I can say thank you for the amazing message. But, people, if you are, do see that in the show notes, then send us a little message. Be sure to leave your name so that I can give you a thank you on the podcast. But for now, here comes Amy. Thanks, guys. See you at the end. Amy, welcome to After Hours. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for coming on. And we were just chatting off the air there. I didn't realise. Tell the listeners where you're at.
I'm in Peru.
Yeah. Do you mind just showing? Because the people that are watching on video, because that view is absolutely stunning.
It's a shame it's a bit of a cloudy day today, but let's see.
But is it springtime out there? Coming up for summer, really? Yeah.
It's wet season now.
Wet season.
Here's
now,
the mountains.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, it's quite unreal, to be honest.
Do you know what? It's
so
one of
there's
those
2
countries
seasons.
that I've always been kind of fascinated about, but it's not really been on my radar, if that makes sense. Probably because it's so far away, but
Yeah.
it looks absolutely stunning. So what brought you down to Peru? You've been there about a year,
wow.
did you say?
Yeah, so I haven't lived
Or
in
should
the
we
UK
or should we get is that more for later on in the story then?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back and tell us about your childhood, Amy, and when you had
Okay.
your first drink. Where did you grow up?
Okay, so I grew up in a place called Newbury. It's in the south of England. Parents are Irish, but I was born and raised in England. Brought up in Newbury. First of all, a small, tiny town called Tadley, but then we moved. Childhood wasn't the best, to be honest. It was a lot of drinking, a lot of violence, a lot of dysfunction, So very much exposed to alcohol at a young age, and coming from a big Irish family is kind of, it's just the way it is, right? So yeah, childhood. These days I am getting in touch with the joyful parts of the childhood as well,
Yeah.
But generally I
back
spent,
into
when my parents split when I was 6, I spent all my school holidays in Ireland, but the rest was in UK because my dad moved back.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean, I think the Irish get tarred with the brush a bit more than the Scots, but it's definitely that thing that, the Scottish people, the Irish people, they know how to drink. And yeah, it's definitely ingrained even more in our kind of cultures and societies growing up. Definitely the whiskey and the musical sessions in the pubs and all that kind of thing. It is definitely a big, I mean, growing up, Christmas was a big deal, but New Year, Hogmanay in Scotland was a much bigger deal because it was just kind of balls to the wall drinking mad night. So yeah, it definitely beat Christmas with the drinking, hands down. So when did you kind of have your first tipple and start drinking?
So I was thinking this, so I think I was about 11, and there was
Right.
I probably tried it before then. I remember being a child, like wanting a sip, like
Yeah, and
wanting
it's like
my
if your
dad would
dad or
give
your
me a
mum's got a
stick.
glass of wine.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think we've all
but there
done
was
that, but
yeah, but there
yeah.
was a girl that I wasn't allowed to play with, that lived around the corner. She was from South Africa, but my mum thought she
Oh,
was trouble, right?
right. One of the
Because of
she would
because
be
of the
leading you
way.
astray. Yeah.
Right? There's always those.
Yeah.
And she stole a bottle of, I don't know what it was, South African port or something like that from her stepdad. And of course, we
Mhm.
started drinking it. And next thing I was like, I think that's the worst drunk I've probably ever been because I couldn't stand up.
Port is a
Um,
very, very strong. What is it? Is it like
yeah,
20%? It's fortified wine type thing, isn't it? I might probably getting that wrong, but it's got more viscosity than wine and it's more potent, but you can
yeah,
quite easily drink a bottle because it's quite flavoursome. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But that
yeah.
memory was, and then I remember because we used to hang out behind the swimming pool in Tadley, this first place that I used to live near Basingstoke. And my little brother's teacher found me on the roundabout trying to walk home.
And you were what,
And she,
11? Yeah.
yeah, I was like 11. So my youngest brother, so he was even younger. So yeah, she found me and she brought me home to my door. And of course, the embarrassment that my mum had had with that.
Yeah.
But that was the
Was this
first.
was this later on, or was this like during the day, or what was
It was
the?
in the daytime.
It was in the
Yeah, it
daytime, so you were.
must have been a weekend. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
but it was
I
awful,
bet. I bet
from
your
the
mum wasn't
get-go.
happy about that. Yeah.
Oh no, no, and she found cigarettes and started young.
You did start young. I mean, a lot of people on the podcast, myself included, was about 14.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, but
that kind of
that
average at
time was
11
just a
is.
one-off, I think, and then it
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
got bad when well, it started to get more and more, and it was bad, bad when I was 14. Yeah.
I mean, you probably didn't dare do it for a while after that, after the kind of
No.
punishment you got from your mum from getting caught, and the
Yeah, yeah,
embarrassment as well. Yeah, yeah. And then at
yeah.
14, did it kind of just become a thing, or was it,
Yeah, so
weekends
we
or?
moved house. So eventually we moved house to another town, to
Mhm.
Newbury, and it was a council estate. It was kind of basically we had a house fire where we were, unfortunately, but it turned out to be a good thing in the end because we got to move away from that place.
Mhm.
But we were moved to this council estate, and it was like it was a week before Christmas. It was like the 18th of December. And I remember we had nothing. Sorry, it's a bit brutal. We had nothing left, but they rehoused
Yeah,
us. And I remember
yeah.
going in, and the walls were like different colors, and it was just a shithole. Sorry, I don't know
Was
if
there
I'm allowed.
carpets in it? Because over here, no, you're all right. Over
Barely,
here,
no.
I don't know what they're like in the UK, but what they do is when they move people into, they call them commissioners' houses over here, they basically
Yeah,
strip everything out and you have to put new stuff in. So if you move
yeah,
into like commissioner's house, it's like no carpets, no nothing, just
yeah.
bare bones.
But there
Yeah,
was no nothing really. I think there were beds in it. It was very
yeah,
creaky. But I remember as
yeah.
well, like the toilet was in one room, and then there was a bath and a sink in the other, and it was
Oh,
just
separate. Yeah, that's
yeah,
weird, isn't
separate.
it?
And it was just a weird setup. It was one of those houses that was built for the American Army, the
Okay.
soldiers.
Yeah. What, like
Um,
the
so I
wartime?
could,
Yeah,
yeah, wartime, yeah. So we
yeah.
moved there, and it
And was that a
was
new? Was it so far away? Like, as in new school, new friends,
yeah,
new
had to
everything
move
type thing.
school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
had to move
right,
school, and
okay.
this is
That's
the school that
tough.
we hated. It was like kind of the rival school. It was
Yeah,
called the
yeah, yeah.
Clear. We used to call it the Queer. And then I had to move to the Queer, which was just hilarious. But
Oh
it
my
was
God.
like it was my choice. It was hard to move, but it was for the best that I moved.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
And how
for a
was
long
that
time, my
settling
mum
in
still
with
brought me
people?
to my school, which was nice. But then eventually, it was just easier because I met a friend on the estate, and we moved together, which was
Hmm.
kind of a rare thing to happen. But we both went to
Yeah.
our school, and we both moved together. So
Oh,
funny
that's
how
cool.
things.
So at least you had like, a partner in crime type thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And then
yeah,
what was life like on the estate? Was it
yeah.
kind
So
of
it was. I
drinky,
couldn't
druggy?
believe it really. Like a lot of kids didn't really have parents around. Like it was kind of made me think like, wow. It was rough, a rough
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Probably not the roughest of places, but a lot of drinking, a lot of drugging, a lot
Well, but a
of
lot of these places they have, like, I know friends that have grown up on well, schemes as we call them in Glasgow, and it's
mm,
like a horrible name for it, but they're council estates, and well, there used to be a massive sense of community in these places. I don't think there's
mm,
so much now, but there was, like, everyone had everyone's back and all that kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But there was a sense of that too, I guess. But I
Hmm.
remember feeling like a bit of an outsider. But the thing is, the kids would always be getting into trouble. So that would create this war between everybody.
Hmm.
And the kids that were getting in trouble, they usually didn't have parents. They were living in terrible conditions or whatever. I mean, I say terrible. It wasn't that bad, but it was like kind of extreme. Like when my family moved, I felt a bit like, wow, a bit like I'm all right, you know?
Yeah, you've got food on the table, and
Yeah, yeah,
a roof over your head, and you've got two two loving parents, I'm sure
Yeah,
as you said, there was, a bit of kind of argy-bargy or whatever, but like
yeah,
at least they were both there and kind of looking after you and wanting the best for you. Yeah.
yeah. Well, my mum was, yeah, but
Mm.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Your dad got
yeah.
back. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a bit of a shock to the system, but it was like, I remember having my first like pull on a joint and I felt sick. And I remember the guy who gave it to me. And, but you do it to kind of be part of the crew, right?
Yeah.
And then when alcohol came in, I think because there was drinking at home, so it kind of became the norm. And then it was when I started dating, I just realized this recently, that that's when I started to really want to drink like daily, because I was like
Hmm.
nervous or whatever it might have been.
That's courage,
Um,
isn't it? You know.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. It
Mm,
makes you into this. Makes you into the well. For me, anyway, it made me into this person that could, hold. I mean, I was conversationalist, but I was quite shy. But like once I had a drink, I was funny. I was outgoing.
mm,
I would be up for doing anything, and it was
yeah,
almost like having a superpower. Um,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's like that feeling of, I don't know, because I'm quite a sociable person. I've realized that now, like being
mhm.
sober, like I thought I wasn't, but I am. I am such a social being, but I think like I always kind of felt like the odd one out at times, maybe.
Mm.
So the drink gave you that bit of courage, yeah, to
It
feel
gives you that
comfortable. And I
fitting
guess
in
everybody
type.
goes through it.
I mean, I'm sure there are, but you show me a teenager that hasn't got a bit of anxiety and
Yeah.
doesn't kind of feel like they belong, and that's why, I mean, especially in, I don't know, you were growing up maybe in the 80s, 90s like myself, and it was kind of, we had that kind of we all had these different cliques. Do you know what I mean? Like there was the
Mm,
grungers and you might, I
yeah.
don't know, sorry, you might have grown up in the noughties, but it was like you had all these like emos and rockers and the metal
Yeah.
kids and then there was the ravers and all that. But you had to find your kind of tribe, and then
Mm,
you felt like you belonged. But like I think like alcohol and drugs just kind of helped us kind of fit
yeah.
into those little molds. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And then it's like the amount you can drink makes you cool. It's like,
yeah,
and it gives you a bit of bottle, because growing up on the estate, it's all chavs, like it's all
yeah,
like mouthy. So you're like
yeah,
fighting for your life a lot of
yeah,
the time, or you're fighting to be part of the crew, or fighting not to get picked on, or things like that, you
yeah.
know?
Oh yeah, there'll be
Yeah,
massive amounts of bullying and like kind of putting people down, and if you can't take it and give it back, then do you know what I
yeah,
mean? You'll just get walked all over. So yeah, I can imagine. I mean, schools are bad enough, but if you're coming home
yeah,
and that's on your estate as well, it's kind of
yeah,
you're not getting away from it at all. So you've got to either, kind of buck up and be with the crowd, or just never come out. I guess sit in your
yeah.
room. Yeah. So I'm guessing you went the kind of former way and kind of fitted in and hung out with, people and
Yeah.
partied
Well, I
with them
look
and all
back.
that.
I look back and I was the one really drinking the most, to be honest. And I had this name for myself where it was like a jokey thing, that I
Mm.
was drinking all the time. And looking back, and like adults would joke as well. And it's like, what? I was so
Yeah.
young, 14.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like what you said about community, there was like a club, what's it called? Like a
Like a
community
youth club
center where
thing.
there'd be,
Yeah.
games and things going on, and the guy that ran it was really lovely, but of course I was drinking all the time, so I wasn't interested in playing pool and playing games. All I cared about was drinking.
And was that going on in the community centre? Were you allowed to kind of,
I
or
would
were you down
hide
at
it.
around the
I would
back?
hide it and go
Yeah.
into the bathroom and drink it, whatever. But I wasn't too fussed. I wanted to be in the park smoking. I didn't really have
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But other
Yeah.
people did have the interest in doing games and things like that. I
Hmm.
think it
Hmm.
was just
And did
fighting this
you,
nervousness all the time.
so you were doing it almost daily at that point, or was that,
Yeah,
how
14 was.
was
Yeah.
school and stuff going on for you then?
So I still managed to like go to school and things, and I used to drink Fosters, right, mainly.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember I used to use my lunch money. So my mum used to give me like, I don't know, £2.50 a day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would even steal from the school, the food,
Hmm.
and use the
Hmm.
money to buy cans and collect money, right? And even ask people for money
And were
so
you
that I
going
get,
in
and it
and
was
getting
a
it
pound a can.
yourself?
Sorry?
Right. Could you
Yeah.
go in and get it yourself? Yeah. So you
No,
were
but there was
just,
people on the estate that I would
yeah,
ask for them to go, and they would, you know. I don't know why, but
yeah.
they would.
It's crazy, isn't it? And
Yeah.
were you, I mean, were you actively going into school and going to lessons, or were you just
I
kind of,
was, yeah, I was.
yeah,
Somehow I kept it. I mean, I made it all the way to university somehow, you know, and
yeah.
the beer, I
But there
think,
was
like
no
I
one, was none of your teachers
well,
going, well, you smell a bit of beer
well,
today,
it would
what's
only
going
be in
on?
the evening then I'd be drinking. Like I wouldn't be, they wouldn't
Right,
smell
I
it on
see.
me.
Sorry, yeah,
I'd
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah,
about 4 or 5 cans a night, and it wouldn't
yeah.
really make me that drunk. Like I don't know why, because I was a really like little thing.
Mm.
But and then what would happen is like, when I would eat, I wouldn't want to drink anymore. So this is kind of a thing that runs in my family as well. But when I got my first partner when I was 14, I was with him
Mhm.
for about 6 years. I was still drinking, but it kind of got me off the street, if you know what I mean. I was like doing it
Yeah.
inside and still kind of kept my life together somehow.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's sorry. I thought you were meaning that you were doing it at school, but obviously that
Not at
wasn't
school.
still
Well,
not at
did I do
school.
it at
No,
school?
I mean there was
No,
probably
not
the
at
odd
school.
time. I think
Yeah.
our final, I think our last day at school. I mean, we must have been about 16 or something, but we all got completely smashed, and it was the last day of school ever, so we were kind of just in and out into school, but all completely smashed, and yeah, it just
Well,
yeah messy, but yeah. So you finished school and then went to uni. What did you do at uni?
yeah, so I went to college like that 2 years, after school
Oh
because
yeah,
we
yeah,
did
yeah.
school till we were 16. So I did psychology, sociology, English, language, and then I've always had this like drive to not drop out of things somehow. I've
Hmm.
always kind of kept it together, but I remember being hungover at college a lot and I hated it.
Yeah.
Um, but I just kept continuing to go. And to be honest, I didn't think I would get my GCSEs, but I did. So I went to college, and then I was applying for uni just because it was part of our in one of our lessons. I used to
Hmm.
skip a load of lessons in college, but this one it was like we're all applying, and I was thinking, oh, I'm never going to go to university. Someone like me's never going to go. And I
Hmm.
thought, okay, what would I actually like to do? And I thought, okay, something to do with like you know, the craziness of the world, like sociology or
Yeah,
criminology
people's
used to
minds
fascinate
and
me.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of my own mind. But yeah, so I actually chose to go to Southampton, which was close to where I lived. And I thought
Hmm.
if I get there, then it's okay. I can still stay with my boyfriend. That was like my number one thing, right? But then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get an insurance choice. And I chose randomly. And I chose Chester, which was 4 hours away.
yeah.
And I thought I'm not going to go anyway, so I just randomly clicked, and that's the one I got into. I didn't get into my first choice.
Right. So you were like, oh no. And at what age had you moved in with your boyfriend? Because you said you met
I
him when you
hadn't
were
moved
14.
in, but he lived up the road, so it
He
was
lived up
like
the
we were
road.
always
Right.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so I said to my mum, like, where am I going to go? And she was like, ask your dad. So I called my dad and he was like, just go. And I was like, I'm going then. And I didn't expect it. It was obviously a higher thing happening.
Yeah. But I
Um,
mean, I
and
suppose you can get like student loans and help with kind of rent
oh
and
yeah, it
things
was
like
all
that
student
and
loans.
halls. Yeah, 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 of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, wow. And
And
I
back
mean,
then it was £3,000 a year. Now it's tripled, I think, for
I think
university.
it's astronomical now, isn't it? And
Yeah,
then I'm guessing you had Freshers Week when you got there.
yeah. Had Freshers
Yeah.
Week. That was wild. Yeah, the
Do you
whole
think at
three
this
years was
point,
wild.
did you think, because you said, when you were at college, you were kind of sick of going in hungover and things like that. And it's funny you said,
Mm.
but I still stayed at college. It wasn't like the thought of, well, I'll give up drinking because I don't like being hungover. It
Yeah,
was like, you're thinking I'm going to give up college because I'm
yeah,
hungover. Like, do you know what I mean? It's weird how
yeah.
that the brain
Exactly.
works that way, isn't it?
Madness.
So, do you think when you were at that point, do you think that the drinking was an issue, or were you just doing what everyone else was doing? You know, how did
Yeah,
you
because I
think
think
your habits were?
at 14 I was numbing this anxiety that I was having,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's what it was like that. And but I didn't see it as different. I thought it was normal because I grew up around drinking daily, it's like a
yeah,
normal thing. And I look back now, if anyone was to question my drinking, I would just say that's what I'm like. This
yeah.
is what I do, not
This
that
is
it's a
my
problem.
personality. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. When in
yeah,
actual fact, you've got all that trauma from, your childhood growing up and the moving the
yeah,
house and, even having your house burned down. All of these things are
yeah,
traumatic. So, but because you're surrounded by it, you just think this is what everyone else does. So you're not seeing it as a crutch or any kind of tool, coping mechanism that you're using. So,
yeah.
yeah. And so when you went to uni, I'm guessing, yeah, Freshers Week, that was mad.
Yeah,
And
it continued, but I was actually glad that I'd had that pre-experience because like drugs started to come in and all these other things, but
yeah,
I'd tried it all
yeah, yeah.
and
So
the
you were
extra,
like
yeah,
an expert type thing. You were the don
right?
at it. Yeah,
And I
yeah,
could
yeah. I
just
know
do
exactly
it,
what
but
you mean.
then like one of the girls, um, rest her soul, but she passed away because she committed suicide, but she got addicted to this, she was using MCAT, that legalized drug that was there for a bit.
Yeah, what
But
they
she
call it,
had no
meow meow, and
pre-experience with drugs and things like that. So it kind of made me think like, God, it was intense going into university, starting university like that, coming from a very small place and going into the big city and being exposed to all this alcohol and drink. And because if that was me, who knows what would have happened, because
yeah,
so I was actually quite grateful that I'd had that previous experience. Otherwise, I
yeah,
never would
yeah.
have got.
Because you're a bit more versed in it, and you know what? Like when I went to uni when I was 32, and
Okay.
obviously by then I'd kind of had obviously loads of coke, whatever. I mean, I was pretty versed in it, but like I was meeting people at university and they were like 18. Some of them, I think one of the girls I knew was like 17, just fresh coming from her parents. And within a couple of weeks or months of being at uni, she was already taking E and stuff. And she was, do you know
Uh,
what? And she was enjoying it and loving it. But I just thought, because when I'd gone to college, there wasn't the same amount of numbers. And this was what, 32, when I was 32. So this was about 13 years ago. And the numbers of kids that were just coming away from their parents and trying it, like, I used to think that maybe about 5% of people I knew were taking the harder drugs like Class A's and maybe had a joint or whatever. But it just
mm,
seemed to have doubled or tripled to like 80% of the kids were all doing whatever because it was college, it was uni, it was experimental. So I don't know what it's like now, but it was, yeah. I just couldn't believe how many people, even the people that were like, you were like, but you're a bit of a geek. What the hell? You've been doing this at the
mm,
weekend, and it was, yeah. But I don't know. It's a kind of, it's
yeah.
trending, isn't it? So people do it. So
Yeah, it's
yeah, so
just
that sounds
yeah, it
horrible
just
that
kind of
that
goes
girl
hand in
couldn't
hand.
hack,
But
couldn't
you
couldn't
look
kind
back
of,
and it's like it's really interesting because the house next door to me it kind of became like a drug den, right?
right,
And all the
right,
people in it was like so it was like local people from the area came in and was with all these students, right?
yeah,
But using their house and things like that. And a very good friend of mine that lived there, he actually just came to visit me here in Peru a couple of weeks ago, and I hadn't
nice,
seen him since I mean, I saw him in COVID, but the last time I saw him, we were partying hard,
yeah,
in
yeah,
2020. And he kind of messaged me like, is it okay that we still, hang out? And it was amazing. Like, we're still very, very well connected, but
hmm,
that's what you think. You think like, are we friends without the drugs and the
yeah.
alcohol?
It's
But there's some people you really connect with, and it was
yeah.
just great because he's on his own kind of healing journey now as well, and it was just
And
beautiful.
is he sober or is he just doing
He's
something
not
different? But
sober, but he's
no,
on
but
his own. He's on his
yeah,
own
yeah, yeah,
path.
yeah,
Yeah, alcohol
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
really a thing for him, but he's definitely, yeah,
On a
like starting
spiritual
the
journey.
work. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. And so when you've like you finished uni obviously and kind of qualified and all of that,
yeah.
then did you go out to work in your
So
field
I
or
actually moved to China.
right, right, okay, okay,
Yeah, so I
cool.
moved.
Yeah.
I got graduated. I got a 2-1 somehow. I do not know how, but I did.
Yeah, well done. Well done. I
And
had
then I
someone
was
on the
working
other
at
week and they
Pizza Hut,
called that they called that the drinker's degree. So it was like if I'd
right?
pushed myself I probably could have got first, but because we were drinking, it was a 2-1. So yeah,
I
yeah.
know, right? I somehow
I know
got
well
it
I
like
know I never finished uni. I just yeah,
Yeah.
I was gone and just gave up. So yeah, got a job.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, sorry. So
This is
you went
why
to China.
I don't know how this happened, honestly. Like
Yeah.
considering like I was the worst out of all my mates. Like it was just anyway, yeah. So I was working at Pizza Hut to try and get that like extra money on the side. And then
Hmm.
when I graduated or when I left Chester, I moved back to my mum's in Newbury and I moved to that Pizza Hut to save up to travel because I knew I didn't want
Hmm.
to stick around. And my best friend from school, he moved to China to do like teaching English.
Hmm.
So I got an interview, and the following, I don't know, a few months later, I took a flight out to China. I thought I was going to go there for a year, and I stayed for 11 years.
Wow. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I lived
And
in
now,
Beijing, where it was like wild, absolutely
yeah,
wild.
it's a
Yeah.
big drinking place, isn't it? Because yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, it's just a bit. Um, like you see a lot of like Chinese people at the airport, they're always buying the really expensive like brandy and
Mm,
whiskeys for business deals
yeah.
and all that kind of thing. Yeah, a lot of money. How was the nightlife there then? Just
It was great. Like, and because you're a foreigner in this
hmm.
country,
Hmm.
and that's what they call us even on the visa form, like we're foreigners.
Yeah.
We get like special treatment, or we get to like drink for free in places, and also it's the first
Oh.
time I've ever had money, and there's not really much rules for foreigners as well. They kind of just let us do what we want to do. You're just
Oh,
riding
really?
around the
Wow.
city on your scooter. Back then, yeah, like everything, you could get
Yeah.
hold of everything. Now it's kind of like clamped down on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But it was like this job, and the school that I worked for was just evening work. So you could go out every night, and there was
So
this pub
you were teaching English as well then,
teaching
yeah, yeah,
English.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was teaching English. So I was there for 3 years, and then I actually moved to Vietnam for a year. But then I missed
Hmm.
China, so I went back. And then I qualified to be a proper teacher, where
Hmm.
I was doing Monday to Friday. So it became a little bit. I had to kind of stop drinking a lot compared
Yeah,
to
you
what I
had
was.
school nights, didn't you? Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
like yeah, you had to be.
but it's very much
I mean,
teaching culture.
but were you teaching adults though?
No kids.
Kids is right, okay. So I suppose you've got to be a bit more switched on when you go in. Not that you
Yeah,
can't
but
with
the
adults, but
state I was
yeah,
in the beginning, the states I would be in, like
yeah,
teaching them
yeah.
kids, because we would start at 3 p.m. and finish at 7 during the week, and then our busiest days was Saturday, Sunday. So you wouldn't really
And
go
you'd
out
be
on a
going out,
Friday night.
yeah,
Yeah, you go out in the week, and it's a city, so it never sleeps.
yeah. And what was it like? Was your drinking? Were you drinking to blackout at this point? Were you getting into states, or how were you getting home? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Was there any issues like that? Because I don't know what's China like. If you get caught, like I don't, I'm not saying you did, but if you're caught for drunken disorderly or whatever, I
Yeah,
mean,
there
I
was
kind
none
of
of that
think they,
really. No, like I was always drinking on my bike, my
yeah,
scooter,
yeah,
got
yeah,
somehow never like crashed or anything.
yeah. Never
Um,
causing trouble or anything like that.
no,
No.
but I mean, if you were causing trouble, you get in big trouble. But I never
Yeah,
really, no, I never got in trouble in that way,
yeah. Good, good.
thankfully.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I just have this imagine of like, it's not just like they bang you in the cell for the night like they do over here. It's like you
Oh
probably
no.
get deported
If you're
or,
fighting or
banged
something,
up.
you get beaten up probably in the cells, and if you get
Yeah.
caught with certain things, you're deported. I've had a couple of friends
Oh,
be
yeah.
deported. Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
previous to being deported, you're in a cell. Not very nice.
No, it sounds horrible.
Yeah,
I've read a few books of people in, Chinese jails, and it's like, yeah, not where you want to
yeah,
be. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So it was wild.
yeah. But then you kind of calmed down a bit while you were,
Yeah,
and I
well,
guess at this point you're what, in your 20s, so you're just kind of
yeah,
you're just traveling. You're having a good time. This is what people do. It's not you.
yeah.
I'm sure you didn't
You got
even
away
see it
with
as an
it.
issue. Yeah, you're just
Yeah, you got
partying.
away with it.
No
And the
problem.
culture there, there's only drinking there, really. There's not much else to do. I mean, there are other things to do, but like I hear people
Yeah,
now say like I'm gonna need to leave Beijing because there's only drinking, and
yeah,
but yeah, I think you've either got the disease, or whatever you want to call it, the addiction, or
hmm,
you don't. And you can go to pubs every weekend and not have the addiction,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
that obsessive thinking around it and what it does and your history. And but for
Yeah.
me it was like up and down. When I moved to Vietnam, it was awful. I was drinking a lot more.
Yeah.
But then I could kind of calm down a bit depending on my responsibilities and who I was with. Depends
Hmm.
on my housemates, you know. I could kind of control it a
Yeah.
bit at times. But if I was left on my own with no job, then it wouldn't be
All bets
great,
are
you know.
off.
Yeah. And you're kind
Yeah.
of in that people pleaser is keeping you above, you know. You don't
Yeah.
want to upset your friends. You don't want to upset people. So you're trying to behave yourself all the
Oh,
time.
absolutely. And I mean, I would find different people to kind of go out with all the time. So I'd be
Yeah.
with one group, and then if I did something stupid and kind of, annoyed them or whatever, which wasn't very often, but if I did, I'd just go and, I'd lay low from them for a bit and then go and find some
Yeah.
other people. But I know what you mean. I did become sometimes a bit of a chameleon, like especially because I used to go and drink in pubs, on my own, and I'd know different groups of people, and I'd behaved a certain way around a certain group of people, and then it'd be
Yeah.
like, well, I'd behave a different way with them. And it was kind of like, who was I, thinking back? It wasn't,
Yeah.
was I really being my genuine self? Not really, because I was
Oh
drinking.
no.
So being
Yeah.
anyone, yeah,
Sad really,
yeah.
isn't it? It's like
It
wow, like
is.
the way yeah, I know what you mean, like going into pubs and like women don't generally go to pubs by themselves, right? But in
No.
it's just a thing in the UK, but in China, you can. There's kind of I would always do it. I would know exactly who would be in the pub and it'd usually
Hmm.
be like people that you shouldn't be around, you know, and
Hmm.
sit and have however many pints, but not tell your friends that you're there, you know? Like
Yeah,
hiding.
yeah, 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 yeah. And then go meet them later or whatever, or
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would rock up to pubs. Like, say we were meeting at 7, I'd get there for like 6:30, and I'd go in and
Yeah.
just kind of, have quite a few before, and be chatting to them, because it's back in the day when you could drink and smoke in pubs, so it was like I was in heaven, and I'd just be
Yeah.
in there chatting to the local barflies, and then my mates would rock up, and it'd be like, oh yeah, yeah, because a lot of my friends would be like, what time are you getting there? Because I don't want to go into the pub on my own. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? This is my home. I love this place. I'll come here and sit
Yeah.
all day and talk to any old person,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is quite
Especially
sad,
with a
really, for
drink.
like someone in my 20s, It's like, yeah,
So you said that you
crazy.
were quite shy, but then obviously with a drink you weren't.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my teen years I was quite shy, like early teens, and then, but then the thing is, thinking about it, any social situation, maybe apart from like college and work, because I wasn't drinking at college and work,
Mm.
so I could be social, and my shyness, it was something
Yeah.
that I combated and kind of, would could fight against. But since getting sober, it's like, yeah, I'm not a shy person at all. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy, but because I maybe thought I was, and then I relied on alcohol to give me that confidence
Yeah.
boost, and I just used it for my whole life. If you'd
Because
said
of
to
that
me in my
general
20s,
teenage.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you'd said to me in my 20s, right, we're going to go to this thing and we're not going to drink, I'd have been like, what are you talking about? Like, whatever we're going to get completely blitzed. And
Yeah.
that was just what it was. And I called myself a social butterfly. I was like, I mean, I think it's on my CV, I was a social person, or I like social interactions, and that. What that meant was I like going out in the piss, you know,
Yeah.
because that,
I'm
that
just
was,
sociable, you know, like I'm
yeah.
popular and it's just like, oh my God.
Well, this was my like hobby. Like people have hobbies, and I
Mm.
dabbled with a bit of guitar, and yeah, I like music and I like watching films, but my main thing was going out with people and going out
Yeah.
and drinking and doing whatever else. That was my hobby. That's what I lived for. And the 90s and the noughties, and I suppose even the 80s, but I was too young for that. It was like that's what our culture was. It was like, especially in the
Mm.
UK, we were living for the weekend, and
Yeah.
films like Human Traffic and all of these different things. It was like, the weekends landed, blah blah blah. We're going for it,
Yeah.
and that's what we did, and we ended up having. I just ended up having really shit jobs, either working in pubs or in crappy call centers or whatever. So I was
Mm.
completely unfulfilled in my life. But in my head, it was like, well, I'm still young, blah, blah, blah. And then before you know it, I'm like, I'm 40, and it's like, fuck. And now I've got a
Yeah.
massive drinking problem to boot.
My
So
gosh.
what am I
Yeah.
going to do about it? Anyway, sorry. So going back, you're
Yeah.
How did
Wow.
it finish in China well, or what did you
Um,
do after that?
so so I got sober in China. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so if I look back, so I tried the first time I tried, so it'll be 3 years, but I tried my first time in 2021. I got
Hmm.
sober for 6 months, but then I relapsed for a year and a half, and then I went back, and now I've been three
Hmm.
years clean. But so yeah, it finished well. I mean, during the all getting sober, I did my teaching certification, I did my masters, I managed to do all this stuff,
Hmm.
you know, somehow. But I see a lot of alcoholics do that actually because they're so like they think that that's gonna give them what they need, right? Like the education, the certifications, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I continued on, and it got worse and worse and worse, and then okay, what happened then? And then it was I'm trying to think now. COVID hit, right? And
Yeah.
I went to India for a 2 week holiday, and then I ended up staying for 10 weeks. But India is like wild, and it's probably the worst I've been in India. 2020, um,
Yeah, because
like
they
waking
don't
up.
have what is it like Sikh or Hinduism or Buddhism. There's not a ban of alcohol within those religions, is there?
Well,
So
actually, the
it's quite.
places I was in, there were a ban, but you've just got to do it
Oh,
secretly and pay a little bit more for the
right.
alcohol. Yeah, you can find it, but
Yeah, yeah,
we went
yeah.
into so during COVID we went into quarantine, and the hostel closed down, and it was like I think there was 22 of us, and we stayed there for 17 days, but we were in a dry place, so we couldn't get any alcohol. So
Hmm.
I knew a guy that lived across the road, and I was trying to get him to get me drink, like whiskey or whatever. By this point, I was drinking in the morning for these 10
Right. Yeah.
weeks because I'd wake up so rough, and I was
Well,
drinking those
withdrawal was it probably?
Kingfishers. The what, sorry?
It was probably withdrawal at that point
Yeah,
then.
withdrawal for sure. Yeah, so I just
Yeah, yeah,
continued,
yeah,
continued, continued, and
yeah.
they're like 7% Kingfisher beers.
Oh,
But
yeah,
then
yeah,
when
yeah.
that stopped, I couldn't sneak and get it. So I tried to get the guy across the road to get me it, and I got caught with him trying to like, and then I got in trouble. Blah blah blah. It was a big thing, but I didn't care about COVID. I didn't. I just needed my alcohol, you know.
Yeah.
And in the
So
end, yeah.
I was when I went into rehab, it would have been March or April 2020,
Mm,
and that was when we went into lockdown for the first time. So it was like 28 days I was in there, and it was great. I did really well. Came out and I did a total of 55 days sober, and then I moved into a new flat, and yeah, I was the same as you. Like people were saying,
okay.
well, when you get your shopping delivered, you need to wipe it all down. Oh, fuck that. I was just living like normal, but going down to the shop. And yeah, I'd put my mask on if I had to do that, if it was a shop that said you had to. But I wasn't like purposefully trying to social distance. Because I was just sozzled all the time. I didn't really care about it. How I didn't
Yeah.
get COVID until 2023, I'll never know. Do you know what I mean? I
Because of
didn't
the drink.
contract it. Yeah, well, yeah, probably it was keeping me pickled. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I honestly just didn't. It wasn't, and it like I think at the beginning I was kind of sober and I was seeing it on the news and I was like, oh my God, and it was that panic. But then I was just like drinking, so I just didn't really. I wasn't worried about it. I didn't
Yeah.
care.
There
Yeah,
just wasn't a care in the world for anything,
no,
actually, for me.
not when you're drinking.
Apart
No,
from that.
you lose all kind of want to care. Let's just press that fuck it button. So
Yeah.
yeah. So sorry. How was that in India then? Did that guy keep you
Yeah,
a steady
so
supply
in the
or?
end, because I was working online still from China,
Yeah,
teaching, and they
yeah.
closed the border in China, and it was getting so bad in India. So I remember we had to get permission to get a lift to the airport. And I remember we had loads of stuff on us, and we were doing it in the car, finishing it
Mm.
all. And like, I lost my shoes. And I got to the airport, and it was like, okay, I'm going back to the UK. So I had to go back to the UK for 6 months. Obviously, we couldn't move, we couldn't go any places.
Yeah.
And that's when I met up with my friend who I just said to you about. I stayed with my mum, but then we fell out. So I went to London on the train, and he was a nurse, so I got him to write me a note to say I had a hospital appointment so that I could travel. All that, not caring about
Right.
anything, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And stayed there for a bit, partied a lot. But that 6 months, I think, was really hard as well because I'd just been on that huge binge. So I
Yeah.
continued to drink daily. And then, as soon as China opened borders, I flew back. But that journey back was insane as well.
Because
I
was all
broke
your
my,
stuff
yeah.
still in China? So you still had your flat and all that?
Still had my job, still had
Yeah,
everything,
still had your job.
luckily.
So you just needed to get back there to kind of sort stuff
Yeah,
out.
needed to
And
get
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
So on the way back, which was probably the time that I realized, like, something has to. I didn't even know then that something had to change, but I was thinking, right, I've got to go into 2 weeks quarantine in China now, because that's what you have to do when you get there. So I'm like, how
Yeah.
am I going to do it without alcohol? So I'm in the duty free. So I thought, right, I'll buy boxes of wine
Hmm.
and see how long that lasts me or whatever. But I drank most of one box before I got on the plane. And I popped a Valium to help me sleep because I would do that usually anyway, but really bad idea. So I got
Yeah.
on the plane, I was really drunk, and I woke up the next morning in Beijing, no, in China, with a sore elbow, right? And I was like, okay, what's that? I can't get my bag down. I've got no memory. So I got someone to help me carry my bag, and then we got to the quarantine. And this couple came up to me and they said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, why? I've got a bit of a sore arm." And they said they dragged you to the back of the plane because you refused to wear a mask. So
Oh
this was all
man.
happening like sleepwalking, God knows what was going on. And then I got into the quarantine and I was shitting myself. I was like, what have I done? Am I going to get deported? Like, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I was hungover because I drank all that drink. The time zone changed, blah,
You
blah,
got the
blah.
Valium as
Everyone was
well,
in
and
hazmat
yeah.
suits. And I had one box of wine left, I think. But anyway, I was there in this state of fear. And then the next day, my arm started to go black all the way down. I've got pictures of it. So they'd actually grabbed me, but they said nothing about it. They didn't
Yeah,
say
and you
anything.
just woke up on your in your seat, like
Yeah.
thinking, "Yeah, I've just had a nice flight.
Yeah,
I've
but
been
they were
sleeping
probably like,
most
oh,
of it."
she's drunk, like, I'm glad they didn't
Yeah,
say anything, but like, you're just worrying. And then, of course, I had to get seen to because my
yeah.
arm was so bad. So they had to call an ambulance.
Was it
I had
bruised or was it getting infected or what was
it was
it? Just
bruised, yeah,
bruised.
like
Yeah.
turning black. So it turned out
Wow.
I broke my elbow in a small place.
They broke it.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, you could have sued, I guess, or something, but
I
that's
mean, I
maybe why they
just I
didn't
just
want it.
thought, right, I'm gonna get
You just
deported,
thought,
I'll
let's
lose my
cut our losses.
job, everything. I
Yeah,
just didn't
yeah,
say
yeah.
anything, and they don't speak English anyway, a lot of them. So, um, they called me a an ambulance. There was two
Hmm.
ambulances because I had to be kept on my own, right, because of quarantine. Get to the
Hmm.
hospital, and I walked straight in the hospital. So weird.
Sorry,
It's okay.
that's just my phone
Um,
going. Apologies. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
So
Say again.
yeah.
No,
So
you get to the hospital.
and I just walked straight in the hospital, like open, even though I had to get my own private ambulance and yeah. Anyways, so it was broken, and then I had to go back for 2 weeks, and then eventually I got back to Beijing, and it was like, yeah, such a journey. But even then, I continued to drink. Of course, I wasn't aware that that wasn't normal. I wasn't aware that there was a way out for me. I wasn't aware that someone like me with a job needed to look at
Yeah.
it so closely.
But also, like even that incident on the airplane, like if you're anything like me, that would have been everyone else's fault. That wouldn't have been your fault.
Oh
That
yeah,
wouldn't have been anything to do with your drinking. That was like society's fault, and like, oh God, they're just, they don't know how to handle things or whatever.
yeah.
It would have been definitely everyone else's fault, but mine. So yeah, so why would you stop? Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
right?
It's not a red
Yeah,
flag
and it
at
was
all, is it? Yeah, yeah.
awful. But yeah, so back to Beijing, and then I actually moved in with a Serbian girl, good friend of
Uh-huh.
mine, and she was the first person to ever say you've got a drink problem, and that's where it all
Wow.
started to change for me.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all it takes. Like my family were probably telling me for years, but
Yeah,
I didn't listen. But it's just that one little incident with a person or whatever to just say, and it sounds like she was kind of straight up told you you've
yeah,
got a drink problem, and that's the first time you maybe even heard it, and you're going, oh. And
yeah,
did you kind of take heed of that, or were you like, don't be
yeah.
daft, or
So I think I would come home from nights out or just come home from being in the pub and make a mess in the kitchen kind of thing. And
and was she a
you
drinker?
know, she wasn't, no, but I think she may have been years ago into other things. But like
Hmm.
like she was into yoga and she was on this path now and she could probably see straight through me, but Serbs are very direct. They're not like
Mm-hmm.
us, like, oh, you're fine. Don't
Oh
worry
no, no,
about
they'll tell
it.
you how
We've
it
all been
is. Yeah, yeah,
there. Yeah, yeah. She's
yeah,
like, you've got a drink problem and you need to sort it out. And I'd upset her I was hungover anyway, right? From upsetting in the house, and all I want to do is please her, right? So when she's
mm-hmm.
sitting me down, of course I start crying. I'm like, oh my God. Like, 'cause it's the first time probably someone's been
Someone's
that
called you out.
intimate around alcohol and how I'm behaving. And her yoga teacher was 16 years clean in AA. So
Right.
she said, meet up with her just once maybe and see how it goes. And of course I was like, yes, I'll do anything, you know. And
Oh
this
yeah,
is where the
you want
people
to make her
helped me
happy. Yeah.
so much. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that Friday, I went and I met her, and she came with her baby, her new baby. She was breastfeeding, and another guy, and sat down, and she was the first person to listen, right, to my story, and was like, "Yeah, you know how it is." Like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
listening, and I just thought, wow, this woman, this beautiful woman, she's come out here to speak to me with her baby breastfeeding. She's got so many kids and a husband at home, and you know how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
she's like, do you want to come over for pizza? So I said, yeah. And she's like, there's a meeting tonight. Do you want to go? And I had never really heard of AA. I'd never really knew what
Yeah.
it was. I'd seen it on TV.
Seen it on the films and that's it.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Yeah.
never. So we went that night. And again, the people pleaser was like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Well, she's done it well because she's invited you for pizza, and then it's like, well, yeah, I don't want to upset you. Of course, I'll come
Yeah,
to a meeting. I'll see what it's like. But
yeah,
also, your Serbian housemate, like, this is the thing. Like, when we're in it and we're going out with drinking people, and people don't see us when we get home or we're, in bed the next day. And if they're probably doing the same, but for a sober person I'm not saying she was sober, but she doesn't drink, so she's
yeah,
seeing you come in at what time or seeing the state of you. So it's quite easy for a sober person to see someone has a drink problem. I mean,
yeah,
I see people in Tesco's and I'm thinking, yeah, but
yeah,
you can't just go up to them
yeah,
and go, mate,
yeah.
I've got a group that you need to come to because it's just a stranger. But she's obviously done the right thing and just said that.
Yeah,
So how
and I
was that?
hated her for it really. I was like,
Yeah.
she's just,
How
she's
dare
just,
you?
yeah, like she's just weird, or like she just doesn't get it. But no, I'm so grateful for her now. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you
How was
know.
that first meeting?
Oh right, so yeah, I just remember being there on the edge of my chair. And so
Yeah.
it's in Beijing. So it's a lot of there's expat English speaking meetings, and then there's the Chinese. So obviously I went to the expat one, and it's mainly teachers, but you've got people there 16 years, 20 years,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
of
it's a
course.
beautiful beautiful meeting, and I just couldn't believe it. Like I was so red. I remember, like I was feeling really red. I didn't want to take my backpack off. And of course, everyone's really happy to see you when you come in. But the good thing about,
Yeah.
like, wow, the recovery in Beijing, no one's really that chaotic. So I think, like, at that point in my life, I would always get very nervous of like drunk men, or
Hmm.
like drunk women. Even it would make me too nervous. But these people were not that bad, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. I think like
Mm-hmm.
where you probably went into recovery, or in London, there's probably a lot of people there because not because they're choosing to be, but because they have to be, right? So it was felt very
Yeah.
safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. It was brilliant, but of course it was eye-opening, but I just remember thinking like, wow, I'm not the only one like this.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing
Yeah.
isn't okay, right?
Yeah. But you're not
Yeah.
alone, and that's the thing. Like all the
Yeah.
places that I used to hide my booze, I thought I was the only one, and it's like, oh, you guys have
Yeah.
done that as well, and they're like, oh yeah, and we've done this, and we've slept on a park bench, and yeah, you start to like feel like kindred spirits. I mean,
Yeah.
I went to NA rather than AA over here because I'm on the Isle of Man, and it's like it was a
Okay.
small little group. There was only like four of us at the beginning. I think it's
Wow.
quite big now, but like drugs were never a major problem for me. But because alcohol is a drug, they were like, no, come to this meeting, so they just
Yeah.
accepted anyone. But it was like finally some people that understand me. But I
Yeah.
went to an AA in the UK, like, and there was like 50, 60 people in this meeting, and there was one guy I've spoken about him before. I think he was 5 years sober at that point, but he was an old guy and he looked absolutely ravaged. He had drank boot polish. So he'd worked out he was just so desperate for booze, didn't have money or whatever, and he'd found this way of like basically liquefying boot polish and getting it, like it absolutely destroyed his stomach. Like it ripped the lining out and all the rest of it, but like he needed the alcohol that bad at that point. So, I never quite got to that point, but
Yeah.
it's scary, isn't it? But it sounds like you had quite a good little group there to kind of ease you
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. I mean, there was meetings Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I would go to all their meetings.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it was great. It was like looking forward to Friday night, like looking
Yeah.
forward. But I remember the cravings, and because a lot of the time I didn't want to be with them. I wanted to be with my mates down the pub, right? So
Yeah.
but on the way to the meetings, usually quite difficult because you go past the pub. But then
Hmm.
on the way back, it's like gratitude, deep gratitude, because if I was in that
Oh.
pub, I'd be, 5, 6 pints deep. So it would
Hmm.
be, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I stayed there for 6 months
Hmm.
with AA. My sponsor was incredible. We went through the steps, but then Christmas came around and I thought I'd learnt my lesson and I wasn't one of them, right? So I
Yeah.
planned to have a drink with my friend
Yeah.
and completely disappointed that he only wanted to have one, right? And then I went to moderation management, right? I was looking
Yeah.
for these groups, like how can I have some? I went through all that.
Yeah.
They're all just, they all just need AA, but it's just I
Well, they
remember
need
moderating.
abstinence. They need
Oh yeah,
abstinence. Moderation
oh yeah.
doesn't work, does it?
It
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't. It was a joke, but I just yeah, I didn't get it. But I knew as soon as I had that drink and the shame and
Mm.
the, because I'd gone through the steps and everything.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's true, it fucks up your drinking when you get sober. You can't enjoy a drink ever again. And I remember that New Year's Eve, I was like pouring champagne and lemonade to try and like pace myself. But the whole night,
Yeah.
all I was thinking about was my
Yeah.
drinking.
He was just
And
completely consumed by it. Yeah.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, but I guess that relapse needed to happen in order for me to do it. But it took me a year and a half to get clean again, and that was a long road as well. So
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, but
But I mean,
AA was the beginning.
it's definitely part of recovery is relapse. I mean, I did it many, many times. And even after I came out of rehab, I think there was another 3 or 4 relapses before I kind of finally got it. And like you, it was August, and then so it was coming up to Christmas that first year, and I decided to go on a thing called disulfiram, which is like antabuse, so it makes you really ill if you drink on
Oh
it, and
yeah,
you have to start taking it. Like if you plan on drinking, which I really don't advise because I have done and it's very horrible. Like I
ugh,
thought I was going to die. My heart was just going, and but you have to stop taking the pills for at least 2 weeks before you can have a drink safely. So it's
oh,
it's
okay,
in your system, like just lodged. So I took this just to get me through that first Christmas. I didn't want to be on it for a long time. Um, I actually stopped taking the pills maybe about a week before Christmas. Not because I was planning a relapse or anything, but I just thought, right, I'm good, I'm done, and this will be enough in my system to get me through. But yeah, I got to Christmas and it was like you sailed through. But I just
wow,
needed that first year to kind of get me over the hurdle because I knew that
yeah,
Christmas would be bad. Because Christmas is awful. It's everywhere. We're coming up to it now.
yeah.
Here, supermarkets are full with boxes and bottles everywhere, and
It's
Christmas
just.
works dues and all that kind of stuff. It's yeah. So how did you
Mm.
get sober the second time then after the relapse?
Okay, so I continued so it was a year and a half I was out, and
Hmm.
I was resenting AA, resenting recovery, resenting everything, but I knew that I needed to get clean.
Yeah.
And basically, I was part of a very amazing group of women in Beijing, ran by a woman called Masuma. She was like one of my first therapists, but she was with
Hmm.
me through. So she basically encouraged me to go to AA the first time, and then she was with me throughout the the relapse. And she knew deep down that AA was the only way, but she held me with like so much love and compassion. And like she had this group where we would go and do breath work every Tuesday at her
Hmm.
house.
Hmm.
And she would do retreats. So I had this group. Um, and yeah, so basically she ran a dry November thing, inspired
Nice.
by Annie Grace's This Naked Mind. It's the alcohol
Yeah,
experiment.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it was November, so I was like, yes, I couldn't wait to do it, because it's like I'm gonna get
Yeah.
sober with people and I don't have to go back to AA and admit blah blah blah. So we did November, so I stayed dry for November, and then I stayed dry for December.
Hmm.
Actually, I stayed dry. Did I stay dry through Christmas?
This is
Yeah.
2023 or
That
two?
that would have been 20. So if I'm 3 years, so that would have been 2022. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. And then so I had the support of November, but then of course the support left and I didn't have AA, so I continued by myself through December and then I went on holiday to the beach for a
Hmm.
week and I had no one to call, I had no AA, so I sat at the bar and I was like, right, am I and
Gonna do
two
this, yeah.
seconds I just had a drink, yeah, and that's it. And that whole week I hated it because I knew I needed to give up. So I said to
Yeah,
myself, January 1st, that is it. I am done and I'm going to go back to AA.
yeah,
So I got absolutely annihilated that week, right? I remember going for food and they had
yeah,
red wine and I hadn't had red wine for ages, right? So I have
yeah,
order a bottle of red wine. My friends were like, they just knew. They knew.
yeah.
And I was like, I want to take away a bottle of red as well so that I can party with this. Because I knew it was like my last
This
days
is
as
your
well.
last hurrah, yeah, and it's
Yeah,
kind of
last
almost in your
hurrah.
mind. You're like, this is it. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
it this time, and yeah, yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
then January 1st came and it was New Year's Day and I knew. So what happened was I didn't have the courage to go back to meetings, so I went online.
Hmm.
I went to AA meetings online,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I found a new
That's
sponsor. Yeah, found a new sponsor. But in this period of time, so throughout my journey with breath work and things like that, I'd heard of plant medicine, right? And I know there's a lot
Mm.
of yeah things about psychedelics and things like that. So I had in the back of my mind that I wanted to do it
Hmm.
because of things that I'd read and things like that, but I knew that it didn't go well with AA, right? So I got 6 months clean,
Hmm.
and this thing just kept coming in my way. I read Gabor Mate's book, I watched his
Yeah.
documentary on addiction and things like that, and um, I also lost a friend, another friend, my closest friend through addiction, through he was addicted to heroin, but he passed away. And basically, I went down the
Mm.
Gabor Mate rabbit hole, right, of trauma and read his book, The Realm of the Hungry Ghost. So this ayahuasca was in my mind, right?
Yeah,
But I knew
yeah,
it
yeah.
didn't agree with my sponsor. So I didn't say anything. So it got to 6 months and I went and I did a retreat in the UK.
Hmm.
I sat with the plant medicine and it was like it took away any want to drink ever. But it
Yeah.
also showed me exactly why I was drinking. And it took me
Wow.
back to all the hangovers. And I felt it was incredible. I don't know if you've ever done a journey
I've
like that.
not done it. I mean, I did a lot of different things back in the day, but none
Yeah,
like it was it. So it's ibogaine for heroin and ayahuasca helps with
yeah,
other addictions, like
yeah,
including alcohol. And
yeah,
I've heard a lot of stories where, yeah, it's like this spiritual kind of awakening and just shows you who you are and
yeah,
who you're hiding behind and what masks you're putting on, including the
yeah.
alcohol and the escapism and all of that. I mean, it's kind of like I was listening to a documentary the other day, or a podcast, the Adam Buxton one, in fact, and the lady was talking about. She does lots of documentaries. I think is it Kate Walker. I'll put it in the link, but
Yeah.
she does a lot of stuff with DMT and ayahuasca.
Mm,
So she purposefully takes these because she's doing studies on it. So she'll take doses
mm.
like mega doses, or what does she call them, hero doses or
Hero
whatever.
dose. Yeah, hero
Yeah,
dose.
so
Yes.
she's taken a lot just to kind of do studying on it. So
Mm,
I'm completely like, I think it's amazing the work that they're doing on it. Would
Yeah.
I take it now myself? Probably not, because I'm already doing all right, And
Yeah.
it's like, do I
Yeah.
want to kind of mix up that? It's interesting though, because it is something I'm seriously kind of not
Yeah.
contemplating doing, but like I know that at some point in my life it might be something that I would kind of venture into,
Yeah.
as long as it was done under the right circumstances. I'm not just
Yeah.
going to do
Oh
it to look
God,
at a
yeah.
party.
That's the main thing. So it's
Yeah.
like I was obviously so scared because my recovery, Bill Wilson used to use psychedelics, LSD,
Yeah.
like to write the
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I just had this calling and I knew it wasn't going to be easy. That's the thing. It's not fun. Ayahuasca is
Hmm.
not a joke, It's like, it's
Hmm.
really hard to sit in that.
Hmm.
So I got an integration therapist. I did it all right, but I lied. I didn't tell my sponsor, right? And that was
Hmm.
obviously a big deal. So at the end of the ceremony, was a gentleman who's one of my dear friends now. He was there with his wife. And I said, I'm really scared because I've lied, and I know that this has kind of like helped me in my journey. And he said he was an ex crack addict. And
Hmm.
he said, have you heard of PIR? And I was like, what's that? And he said, it's psychedelics in recovery. So it's like AA, but you're
Hmm.
allowed to use plant medicine, but it's like very with guidance.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I thought, okay, this part of my life now, like it's helped me get clean, right? So I want to be able to go and share about this in a safe space. So what I did was I went back, I told my sponsor, I told my friends of AA, they all dropped me.
Wow.
Like,
That's the thing with
yeah,
AA. It's a very weird
yeah.
situation where they
Well, to
just,
be
if
fair,
it's
my
not our
sponsor,
way, then you can go. Yeah.
yeah, to be fair, my sponsor didn't really so much drop me, but she kind of didn't have time to do it a few weeks later. But she did tell me that she smokes cannabis. So I was like, oh my God, I was like worrying about all this stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
each to their own. And then a dear friend of mine, because it makes you fearful, and I get it, and I get why people's reactions are like this. But anyway, I went to PIR and I found a new sponsor, and I was there. So now I don't really go to meetings. I don't go to
Hmm.
any, but I am very grateful for AA and I'm very grateful for PIR. But I do have calls with my sponsor in PIR. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of the route that I went down. And during that journey, I was 6 months clean, and I said, so basically we took ayahuasca the first night, and then the next day we take a cactus called San Pedro. It's called Wachuma. So
Okay.
basically,
Okay.
the ayahuasca is like a feminine grandmother plant. It
Yeah.
takes you to the depths, right? It takes you like
Yeah.
literally. I was on my bed as a kid, watching my family, seeing it all like it is right now, and
And how
understanding.
long does it last for?
Around 6 hours.
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, and you do it at night. And then the
Yeah.
grandfather, the San Pedro, is longer, but you do that in the daytime. So
Hmm.
that's really good for like healing, but a lot of body work, like a lot of
Hmm.
trauma comes up in the body. It's quite uncomfortable, but you get a lot of clarity on your path, right? So I asked the medicine, like, what am I here to do? And it kind of made me journey with what's helped me the most. And it was breath work. And I've been teaching for years in Asia, whatever. So I just was writing with the pen and it was like breath work. And I'd never even considered that.
Hmm.
So I went back to Beijing and I was like this glowing being, because you've just
Yeah.
seen the
Yeah.
world. You've actually
Yeah.
like understood all the mass manipulation that's going on in the
Yeah.
world. And like
Yeah.
this is the clarity around like just the world being so effed up, and
Yeah.
especially around alcohol in the marketing. Like you get shown all this in the medicine, it
It's
shows
like it's
you.
like the way I see it. I mean, I've not obviously delved in as deep as you, but it's like for
Yeah.
me being sober in this world, it's like I've taken the blue pill in the Matrix or the red pill, whichever one. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? But I can see the
exactly.
Matrix for what it is now, and it's like, why are people still going out and doing this? It's
Yeah,
insane. But
it
to
is
try
a
and tell
mass
people, it's
manipulation.
like, yeah, of course it is. But to try and tell
Yeah.
people that, they're not ready to listen because they're
No,
still deeply entrenched in the Matrix. Yeah,
it's such a deep programming, and everything is a program. Everything,
yeah,
the way we relate, the way we eat, and
yeah,
it's once you take the medicine, there's kind of no going back. There's no going
yeah,
back to it because you just see it.
yeah.
And
You can't
even
be
all
plugged
this,
back
like,
in. Yeah.
yeah, even all this, like, inner work around different things, like the darkness of spirituality as well. Like, there's so much to be uncovered in it, and you just kind of
Hmm.
see with a lot of clarity. But yeah, so I thought, right, the breath has helped me the most, so I feel like I can only do what I've lived through myself. So I went back and I found this 9-month course for the exact dates.
Hmm.
So 9 months of breathwork facilitation, and then you go to Italy at the end. So it would work out. I go back to China, do my studying online, and then go and do my facilitation. So I did that not this summer, gone the one before.
Hmm.
And the plan was to become a breathwork facilitator and move to Thailand. But on that retreat again, so I've got many friends from that very first retreat. We've stayed like very close.
Hmm.
Because once you do that kind of thing together, the bond is like
For life,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
crazy. Yeah, it's like connection is just so intense. So there was a couple there. One of the girls was Chinese, and he was from the UK. Anyway, they live here in Peru, and they said when you finish China and you travel, you come and visit us in Pisac. It's a small town. Um, and I was planning to go to Thailand, and I was looking at YouTube videos, and I was just like, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
So I looked at like Peru where they live, and I'd been to Peru before. I wasn't really that much of a fan because it was cold and
Hmm.
stuff, and my body was like, yes. So I
Okay.
was like,
I've got to do.
okay,
I've got to do.
I've got to do
Yeah.
it. So I moved here, and this is where I started to do live breath works, and I do one every week, but then start my own thing online. And it's a
Hmm.
very beautiful place. There's a big community. So the community here, this is what helps as well. The community here is it's like a spiritual haven, right? A lot of breath
Yeah.
work, a lot of yoga, a lot of weird stuff as well, a lot of plant medicine. So you got to be careful. Like it took a while to find your way.
Yeah.
Um, but most events, you're not allowed alcohol there.
Right.
And
Okay. I was going
everyone's
to
on
ask,
this.
what is it like for? Because it
Yeah,
sounds like it's a bit like, no offense, but like a bit hippie and spiritual.
yeah,
And
it's
when you
hippie. Yeah.
find places, when you find communities like that, especially in places like America, it's a massive drug haven. Do you know what I mean? There's
Oh,
some
yeah, for
really
sure.
cagey stuff going on, but there's none
Yeah.
of that down there then.
Well, I
No.
think there would be some people maybe taking mushrooms or something like that, but
Of course,
I
but
would
yeah, but
never.
they're not.
Yeah, but it's not. No, it's very.
There's no
There
meth,
are
basically.
things. So that's why you find your people within, like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
was
yeah.
at a thing the other day and someone was smoking weed. I had to leave. That spirit energy, like around, I feel it. It's like when there's alcohol in the room. So I went into a pub the other day with my partner because he is filming this thing around. He's making a documentary,
Hmm.
and we had to get a scene of him with a pint, right? And I haven't been around alcohol for months because you
Yeah.
don't here. And honestly, I was
No,
a bit
no.
like, oh my God. And it wasn't even like intense but it's just a feeling of the
Yeah.
energy that's in the alcohol. That's why it's called a spirit. And that's like what one of the
Mm.
shamans told me here. Like it's called a spirit for a reason because it sucks your energy. And that's
Yeah.
why it plays with your mind so much because it's an actual spirit.
Well, I think the word alcohol, and I'm gonna get this wrong, but the word alcohol comes from, I think it's an Arabic word called al-kul, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
the dead spirit. So it's
Yeah.
basically saying this is like the it's something to do with the poison of the dead spirit. So that's
Yeah.
why, like in the Muslim world, they don't drink it, because
Yeah.
they know that this is a
Yeah.
poison that kills you. And
It is.
we've called it alcohol, which is after that word. And I'll
Yeah.
find the article on it because yeah, so it is. It's. I know
Yeah.
it's.
And it
I
keeps
feel
us
the vibes
asleep.
off it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps us asleep. This is the society's plan,
Yes.
right? You see the
Yes.
mass
Yes.
manipulation. This
Yeah.
is all part of the plan. And I know it sounds like weird, but it is.
Conspiracy.
Like when you
No,
just
I totally agree
realize,
with you, mate. It's
yeah.
like once our eyes are open, it's like the governments are happy to keep the people numb and living in
Yeah.
this like escapist world where they're not going to rise up and question what's happening. They're
Exactly. Because
happy in
we
their
are
little,
so
well, they're not even
strong.
happy. Yeah, it's just this little
Yeah.
depressive drug that just keeps people numb and
Mm,
off limits. Do you know what I mean? Just
mm.
they're not worried,
Yeah,
but
they're
it's
scared
killing
of
everyone.
our abilities, you know. And look at
Yeah,
like ChatGPT. That's human intelligence that's been made. We are
yeah,
so capable as humans to create, and we're
yeah,
waking up now. Like people are waking up, and they're
yeah,
scared of it, so they're gonna make it even more accessible.
yeah.
And
But
when
also
you, yeah,
sometimes makes me think, and like obviously the world is increasingly in population all the time, and you wonder why sometimes is the two legal drugs that are the biggest killers, are they legal for a reason? Because
Yeah.
they're killing people off, like not just tobacco, like alcohol is killing people off in
Yeah.
mass numbers all around the world. But these are the two legal drugs, the ones that are the deadliest. It's like,
Yeah.
what is, is
Alcohol's the
there a
worst.
correlation there? Yeah,
And
it's
it's
mad.
just crazy when you, and I think that's the main thing that the medicine showed me as well. It was like a kind of non-negotiable of being sucked into it all. And it's like the food as well. Like that's also to keep us dense. If you go into
Yeah.
Tesco's, whatever, all the stuff that you're putting in your body is like just to keep you asleep.
Yeah. Mass
And
processed, sugar
yeah,
filled, like getting people to, morbidly obese levels. But
yeah,
then there's like, I was listening to a podcast today, and the guy's done this, he's written this book on somebody, he's written a book on like overeating and things like that. And he's
mm,
saying that for the last 10 years, suddenly you had Kate Moss, lovely size zero. Then you had like Big is Beautiful, and now you've got like
yeah.
billboards saying get the whatever injection it is to slim down, and it's like, but
And
that
what's in
injection
that?
is
Yeah.
manipulating. Yeah, what's it called?
I know what you mean. It's to lose weight, right? Yeah, like
Yeah, there's loads of different ones. Obviously, they're on the black market, but what he was saying was it's not even, and I think because of the COVID vaccines, they changed all the bills in the world so that now this drug is in the testing phase. So it's out there for everyone to use, but it's still in the testing phase. Normally they'd have
yeah,
like, I don't know, 5, 6 years to test it before it could go to mass market. But now it's out there because it's been allowed to just be freely out because of the COVID
yeah,
vaccines, and it's like it manipulates the hormone in your body to tell you that you're not hungry anymore. So I mean, that's like
yeah.
playing God, isn't it? Fucking about with people's hormones to
Oh my
make
God,
them, and
it's
it's not a
scary.
fix. It's not a fix.
Yeah, it's
It's just going to
scary.
make you slim, and then you have to be on that drug forever because if you stop taking it, you're still going to
Yeah,
get the cravings again.
yeah.
Money,
It's the mind thing, right?
money.
Yeah, and then buy more things and yeah, like I remember I went to Mexico a couple of months back and I couldn't believe the amount of sugar and stuff. Because in the UK now, like when you pay for food, do they have all the chocolates and everything, or have they taken that down? Like when you're waiting to pay and you've
Oh
got
no,
your
that's all
last
still there. I mean, I live
still
in the Isle
there.
of Man, so it's kind of separate, but it is
Ah,
still the same. So we have Tesco's and things like that. But yeah, you go
yeah,
up to
yeah,
the counter, and it's all there that you might want at the last minute,
yeah,
or if you've got little ones that's
yeah,
at their height, and they're like, "Get me the chocolate,"
yeah.
and you're like, "Yeah,
But we're
well,
so aware of this in society. Like, even if you speak to
yeah,
like your grandparents or whatever, they know that the government is making a joke out of everyone, right? But we've made it acceptable and we've made it a part of life, and we joke about it and everything. But it's actually like just such a joke,
mm.
the way that the world is going like that. But and everything on
because
the news as well.
yeah, but because if they do this little
Separation.
chip away at things, like just if they don't do it, if like say if we were in the 90s or the early noughties and suddenly we were transported to this time and we saw everything that's happening, we'd be shocked. But because it's been little changes and
Yeah.
little increments along the way, like if you'd said to me, um 10, 15 years ago, oh, you know that your phone and your computer's listening to you, that's how they can monitor your ads and send you ads that are specific to you, I'd have gone, what are you on about? That's crazy, that's spyware. And it's like, but now we just accept it because
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do about it. So we just all accept,
Yeah.
oh yeah, my phone's listening to me all the time, but I've got an Alexa in the other room and that's listening. And now I'm getting adverts that are specifically to what I've just had a conversation about. But because it's happened so gradually, we just accept it. And it's happening
Exactly.
all over. It's crazy.
Yeah. And
But
it's
yeah.
wild. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Exactly.
absolutely mad.
So you're in the Isle of Man, okay? Yeah.
Isle of Man, yeah. So I moved here just after I'd got out of rehab. So I was there for another
Okay.
3 months in the UK. My
Oh,
parents had
well.
moved over here because my brother, he moved here 20 years ago. I did spend a bit of time here back in 2008. And then I was going to come over here after I came out of rehab, but the borders were closed because of COVID and I needed to get an exemption. So I was just like, yeah, I don't want to come over there. I'm fine living here. Do you know what I mean? Whatever. I was relapsing, drinking, no one to hold me accountable. I was just doing whatever. And then it was just getting worse and worse and worse. So eventually my mum spoke to the MHKs, which are like the MPs over here. She wrote to them and they got me an exemption and I came over. And I was only planning to come for like 2 months. I was like, yeah, I'll come over. Once COVID's cleared up and whatnot, I'll go back across. And that was 5.5 years ago now. So
Oh
yeah.
wow. So you
And I
must have
met
a
my
lovely family then supporting you.
yeah,
Like,
I mean they were close to their end to they were end
yeah,
of the tether to kind of be done with me, but and I knew that, and I was like, what that last detox that I got in the hospital over here, I was like, this is it, this is last chance saloon, as they say, jails, institutions, and death. And
yeah.
I'd done some time, I did the institutions, and I didn't fancy the third, and I was just like, I have to do everything and anything. So I did AA, NA, Smart. I was doing online meetings. I was,
Mm,
and like you, like I was apprehensive going into the meetings, but I knew I
yeah,
needed them. And then when I would come out, I was buzzing. I
yeah,
was like, oh, and I couldn't wait for
yeah.
the next one. So, but
And
because I
now?
cut my, what
Oh,
now? No, I mean, I stopped going to meetings.
well, this is meetings. This
This
is
is
it.
meetings. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a peer mentor for Motivate, which is our addiction charity here. So I
Okay.
do a group therapy every 2 weeks there, which I'm part
Mm,
of. Um, but I actually gave up the meetings. So we went into a little mini lockdown and we couldn't get into the rooms. And we did a few sessions outside in the park. And I just thought to myself, because there's that old mantra in AA, if you miss a meeting, you're going to
oh
relapse.
God, yeah.
And I was like, what if I can't get to a meeting? And I was like, but I don't want to be in a situation where if I can't get to a meeting, then I'm going to
Mm,
relapse. I was like, I don't want that control over me. So I'm going to move on to phase two of my recovery and
mm,
started like rebuilding my life and started socializing without my groups and all that. And yeah, and then like I met my wife 2 years ago and we got married in the summer there. So, and
oh,
I've now got three
congrats.
stepkids and I was counting
Oh,
today. I've got wife, three stepkids, three cats, five hens, and yeah,
oh
and life,
wow.
life, life is great.
Well done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
incredible.
awesome.
Like
It's
really
awesome.
incredibly well done over there getting clean. Oh
Yeah.
my
And
God.
you know what? Like the Isle of Man is still like people go, oh, it's a bit backward over there. It's a bit like yeah, we don't have Amazon vans running around the streets, but
It's
it's like,
good.
and if we order something on Amazon, it'll take like 3-4 days to get here. It's not quick, but we live with it. We get over it. We don't have many 24-hour shops. I think there's like one on the island. It's a very slow paced life. There's not, of course, there's crime, but there's not the same level of what's going
Yeah.
on in the UK. Like in the UK, yeah, you'd be worried to walk down the streets after 10 o'clock in some towns and
Yeah.
cities now. It's going absolutely crazy, and I could see it happening when I lived over there because I was living in Hull, and I'd lived in York and Leeds and places like that. I've lived all over the UK, and I
Mm,
just have no interest in going back there at all. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Scotland's
yeah.
my home and all of that, but yeah, I love where I am now because we've just got
Oh,
like we can let the kids out until the street lights
yeah.
come on, which is like what it was growing up for us. So yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
what advice would you give, Amy, to anyone that was kind of getting sober? Would you kind of tell them to go down the ayahuasca route, or what would you say?
So I think that kind of leads into what so basically for my own recovery, my own path, I needed to work on the body. I needed to work on the
Yeah.
trauma. So I would join a community. If you're a man, join a community of men. If you're a
Hmm.
woman, join a community of women, but also have chance for both, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
me, having a strong group of women that I could breathe with was incredible, right? To do breath work
Mm-hmm.
because I had so much in the body. My nervous system was completely effed.
Hmm.
So if I hadn't had that, I probably would have gone back to drinking because like that it's not really dealt with in AA. They don't do anything about trauma in the body. So I don't
No.
know whether that's AA. Find a community that you resonate with. That could be AA, NA, any of these groups. It could be PIR. If you're going to go down the plant medicine route, I wouldn't recommend it until you're at least 6 months to a year clean because of the
Hmm.
way that your body is, for sure.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
you could also be latching onto something that, because you are taken out of your consciousness, but
Yeah.
it's not good for your body physically if you're getting all those realizations and you're still drinking or whatever. So I would find a community and I would do the inner work on a body front
Hmm.
using breath, using whatever it is that you choose. But recovery alone for me didn't work. So yeah, tell someone, speak up about it. If you don't know, reach out to me or you know, reach out to someone and say, look, I don't really know what to say, but I think I've got a problem. And just know that, you know, it is a big mass manipulation. This thinking around, am I an alcoholic? Am I not? You don't have to be someone drinking out of a brown bag to have an alcohol problem. Most of the world is manipulated into it anyway. So someone that's considering, find a community, find a coach, find someone that's going to see you, someone that's going to hold you with love and compassion. I think that's key. And because we have so much shame and guilt.
Oh, and it's enough to, like, I mean, a lot of my relapses would be like, well, I'm useless. What's the point? I can't do it. And that was just basically another excuse and a reason to go back out. And it was like, oh yeah, you can't do it. You're hopeless. It's that little voice going, yeah. And so you're a qualified sober coach, breathwork
Yeah, so I'm a
practitioner.
sobriety mentor and breathwork facilitator coach. So I combine all the different things. So the program that I work with on a one-on-one basis is called Numb No More. So I started doing this about a year ago, and the clients that I have got, they've stayed on for 6 months, because 3 months isn't usually enough. So I either work with people for three months, 6 months, whatever it takes. But what happens is I take things from the 12 steps, like the step work, and we also bring in the inner child work, shadow work. We look at your past, but we do it on a body level. So we meet online, we have a talk about what's going on, but we come into the body and heal the nervous system from the inside out through breath, through movement, through all these different techniques. But then there's this constant accountability, this constant contact. And on the other side, I run the Sober Sisterhood Breathwork Circle. So there's a one-on-one container and there's a community where we meet every second Sunday online to do breathwork and have a sharing circle. So the community is on school, so it's a different platform. And in between, we have challenges. We've got December challenge coming up. But I'm also running another program for Dry January, but it's called Not Just Dry January. It's 7 weeks. Because usually it's a month for Dry January and then everyone's done and back to the pub.
It's not
But
long
what
enough.
I'm doing, it's just like it's body
I mean,
based.
nothing's long enough. The longest
Nothing's
time
long
you have
enough,
to be sober is
exactly.
forever. Yeah.
So it's just, and there's no one way for anyone. You really have to find your own way. Like I had to go through different things and, you know, dabble with different things. And this for me, speaking to you now, is recovery. Me chatting to my clients is recovery for me. Being on my with my community, it's recovery, and it helps me stay clean. Otherwise, I'd have to be in AA. There's no way I can do it alone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I offer the one-on-one container, the Sober Sisterhood community, and then Dry January is coming up as well. So yeah, if anybody wants to reach out for any of those things.
Without a doubt. And I'm sure people will. I'm not going to say that I've got millions and millions of listeners, but you know, if it brings one to your table, then amazing. I'm going to put all your details in the show notes as well. Amy, do you regret getting sober?
No way. I love that question. Like, is there anyone you've ever met that says, I regret getting sober?
No, but you know what? There was one person on the podcast, I can't remember who it was, but I don't think they heard me right the first time.
Oh.
And they kind of went, no, like, went, yeah, no, oh, no, I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. So there was a bit of fumbling there as well. But yeah, I mean, like, if there is someone out there that's regretting it, it's like you're either a dry drunk or you've not done the work on yourself, because it's like, whatever. I mean, the majority of the people that I know and speak to, they like you, were just like, oh my God, my eyes are wide open now. The veil has been lifted, but it's trying to get this out to the other people, you know, because obviously we're in a niche community where it's mostly just people that are trying to get sober or are sober. But I've got a lot of friends that are listening to it. My family listen to it as well. And it's like, oh, you know, and I think it is just changing a few people's opinions on it and maybe thinking, like, looking back on themselves and going, oh, what is my drinking like and what am I getting out of it? You know, because I've got friends in their 40s and 50s, and it's like, really, your hangovers must be hellish now,
Oh,
you know, because I remember what mine were like when it was getting towards the end, and I just used to drink to kind of drown that out. So, yeah, but it's
yeah.
like, what is the point in going out on a Friday night or having a Christmas do, and then spending the weekend in bed when you've got a family to spend time with,
Mm,
and you know, and do the
yeah.
get the Christmas kind of vibe going, or whatever else, whatever time of year it is, you know, it's just a
Mm,
waste of a life. Somebody
it is for
said
sure. Yeah.
Will was on a few weeks ago, and I can't remember the author's name. I don't know if you remember, but he was saying like doing the same thing out year in year out for 75 years and calling it a life. It's not a life, is it? You know,
Yeah.
you've got to
No.
break free from all of these things. And I get people like us get called boring because we're not drinking at parties. It's like, well, hang on, who's the one
Yeah.
that needs alcohol to have a good time? How's that? How am I the boring one?
Yeah.
How are we boring? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
I think the
crazy.
main thing is, right, when you talk about like people around Christmas and things like that, I think the reason why they can't even fathom that they're going to stop drinking is because of the reaction, the fear in the body of what is going to be, what life's going to be without it, right? So when you
Yeah,
learn that that sensation in the body is just something that needs to be observed, that's the game changer for me because
yeah,
everything is a sensation, right? All
yeah,
thoughts around things. It's like,
yeah,
I can't be with that. I can't be with that. And
yeah. And it's involuntary, isn't it? Because it's your brain
yeah,
telling your body, like,
yeah,
how are we going to cope? Yeah.
yeah. So it's like drink, 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 drink. And I've got so much compassion for everyone. This is the thing as well. Like the amount of like the amount of compassion that you need to have for yourself in order to do it as
Hmm.
well. Which in our society, it's not a very compassionate like place
No.
to be around, right?
Yeah.
Like
It's sad. Yeah.
but this time of year is important. And Jimmy, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. This is incredible,
Oh,
like what you're doing, and
I really
especially for
appreciate that.
men, you know,
Yeah.
like it's easy for women to kind of talk about their stuff, but whenever I meet men that are on this path, I mention that because it's not easy.
It's not easy because there is that whole like lads, lads, lads mentality and all of that. And it's like, who do you talk to? But we are getting better at talking about it.
Yeah,
And that was my thing from the start. You know, I heard people saying, oh, if you want to tell people you're not drinking, make up excuses or like, I'm running or I'm on antibiotics or I'm driving tonight. I was like, do you know what? When I get sober and I stay sober, I'm telling everyone, I'm shouting it from the fucking rooftops
yeah,
because this is who I am, and people helped me to get sober, so I want to help other people, and
mm,
that's exactly what I'm trying to do with
yeah,
this. So, yeah,
exactly. And what
it,
do you say to men coming to you? Like, what do you say? Do people reach out to you and say like, "Help me, I want to get sober"? Like, what's that?
yeah. I mean, they do from time to time. I mean, I think I got a lot more when I was like early days and stuff, but maybe 5 years is quite daunting for some people. But my DMs are always open, and I'm just like, you know, you've got to find your community, you've got to
Yeah,
find your tribe. Whether AA or Smart or NA is not for you, like, you know, listen to podcasts, read books, listen to the Quitlet, or just have that one person that you can phone or call. Which I'm like, phone me. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if you're walking past the pub on a Friday night, like just call someone because you know, these little thoughts, if you're sober, these little thoughts will only last like 20, 30 minutes and you'll get
yeah,
past them. But before you know it, you're sat there at home with a bottle of vodka or you're sat in a pub with a couple of pints and it's like, how did I get here? Because like you,
mm,
that relapse can happen way before it. So I'm like, if
yeah,
you're
way
starting to
before.
get those thoughts, then just call someone, speak to someone. And I
Yeah,
always say, like I'm like there's a few people that are that I know that are like, right, I need to keep this quiet to myself, and I get that for jobs and things like that, but I'm like, you need to tell at least a few people to so that they can hold
mm,
you accountable
yeah,
and make it not so scary in the world, because if you're just on your own doing it, and yeah, you might have your sober people in the AA or whatever, but if you're just doing it on your own with all your family and friends, have no idea that maybe you've just given up for a week or two. They're like,
mm,
well, I'll be back. But if you tell them, listen, I'm not drinking because actually it was causing an issue in my life, it was bringing negative impact, so I'm not doing it
mm,
anymore. And if they've got a problem with that, then see you later. You know,
exactly. Yeah, you
you
realize who
don't
your
need
people are
people.
really.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Amy, have you got any recommendations for a podcast, a book, or a film with regards to
Um,
recovery?
so Caroline Knapp, Drinking a Love Story. Very good
Yeah,
one. Have you
yeah,
read
yeah.
it?
I haven't read
Yeah.
it, but it's on my list. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Annie Grace, This Naked Mind, to help with like
Hmm.
the science behind it, especially if you're in recovery, like that kind of book helps.
Hmm.
Um, Film, I don't know. I know there was one, no, I don't know off the top of my head, but also
Hmm.
um, Gabor Mate's documentary, The Wisdom of Trauma, is a very good documentary that
Right, I
helps
haven't seen that
understand.
one. I've read the book, but I haven't seen the
Yeah, The Realm of
documentary.
the
I need to
Hungry
check
Ghost
that
is
out.
his book. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he's got many books, but I think
yeah.
it's very important to understand the trauma side of it. So Peter
Hmm.
Levine, Waking the Tiger, is a good
Right.
book.
Oh yeah, no,
Um,
no, I've heard that one as well. I've got so many because I get people every week, and it's like I've got
yeah,
this list, and I listen to books when I'm because I'm a gardener,
yeah.
so I listen to them on Audible.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so I can.
today on the Sober Sisterhood group chat, somebody actually recommended the Rich Roll podcast, Michael Chernow, whatever that is.
Okay,
So apparently
I'll
that's
look
good.
that
It's
up,
it's about
and I'll,
recovery.
yeah, I'll put it all in the show notes, and I'll put all your details as well, and where people can find you and message you and
Incredible.
hit you up
Yeah.
for some breath work. So it's something that I've been kind of I haven't looked into it actively. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like life is life, and
Yeah.
I'm busy, but it is something that I really do seriously want to kind of get
Oh, for
into. And
sure. If you
yeah,
ever want
yeah,
a session, let me know.
yeah, 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 definitely.
Sometimes I offer for everybody. That was like, because I just did a 10-day Vipassana, like, and what
Hmm.
came out of that was like, open it to everyone as well, because I do want to, I
Yeah.
serve generally women, but I've started taking men now as well because
Okay.
but anyway, breath work is a game changer, Jimmy. If you've already got this far and you
Yeah.
haven't done any breath, I'm like, wow, it's gonna like
Okay.
just make your life even
Okay. Well, I'm
better.
excited for that.
It
Yeah.
clears the body, it cleanses your
Yeah.
body.
Yeah. Cool. I do need a bit of that. No, I mean my life is good. I'm still in the pink cloud, but I could be even more in the pink cloud with that. So
Yeah,
yeah, sounds amazing. Amy, it's
yeah.
been an absolute pleasure getting to know
Oh,
you,
so
listening to
lovely.
your story, and just chatting. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
And
thank
what
you.
is it? 1 o'clock there now? I'm so sorry for keeping you up.
Half one,
Half
yeah,
one
yeah,
a.m. Yeah.
yeah. No, no,
Oh no, sorry, no,
no.
no, sorry. You're behind, aren't you? So it's
Yeah,
during the
yeah,
day.
yeah,
Yeah,
behind.
yeah.
God,
Sorry, I was
no,
getting my
yeah. God, I'm
yeah.
in
It's
bed
because
at
I've got
night.
someone in the new year coming on, and they're in Thailand, and they're obviously behind me. Because I'm multinational here
Yeah,
in
of
the after
course.
hours. It's
Yeah.
got everyone, so it's
Oh,
just trying to
well,
find the time.
have
But
a
thank you.
lovely Christmas. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really grateful.
No, it's been
Enjoyed
an
it a
absolute
lot.
pleasure. Thank you so much for
Mm,
coming on, Amy. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your story and
yeah.
your sobriety. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, such a gift. And let me know if you want to collaborate or any kind of things.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll do, we'll
Yeah.
do. Thank you so much, Amy. That was just such a powerful story. Um, as I said at the beginning, China and Vietnam kind of was where Amy really kind of started. I suppose the wheels kind of falling off and starting to notice that drinking wasn't serving her anymore, and just that whole time on the airplane when she got dragged to the back just because she wasn't wearing a face mask. It was COVID times, and they essentially broke her arm. Now I can imagine she was being probably quite belligerent, and drunk and whatnot, but it still doesn't kind of justify doing that. But I think with Amy, when our our housemate said to her, I think you've got a drink problem, that seemed to be the kind of main turning point there. And I think we all kind of we don't want to listen to someone when they say that, but sometimes that is the poignant point when we actually hear it from another human being that this is it. We've kind of pushed it too far, and we need to kind of do something about it. And that's when she started going to our first couple of meetings and really embracing it, and then to go and do ayahuasca, and really kind of delve into all that kind of holistic, healing power that those types of psychedelics have. As I said, it's I had a lot of time back when I was drinking and using, doing psychedelics, and I don't have a problem with them. I never had a problem with them, and I know that there is a lot of work being done now that we're kind of getting away from that whole like drugs are bad, as in the psychedelic kind of era, the 60s, when the FBI and everything was trying to do mind control stuff, and then they kind of fell by the wayside, so they just kind of blanket almost banned them all from everyone and started saying they were the bad and they were the worst things possible. Now, I don't, as I said, I don't have a problem with people smoking weed and and doing recreational drugs, but when it's when it's giving you a negative impact in your life, that's when it's an issue. But I think now that they are delving right into psychedelic usage for depression, mental health, and also addiction, it's just that we're learning more and more all the time. As I said, ayahuasca is not something that I'm kind of ready or prepared to do, because I my body's clean now and I don't want to be putting anything like that into it. I am interested in doing the breath work that Amy's kindly offered. So yeah, once I get a foothold into January and really start kind of, just kind of opening new avenues, and that is something that I will gratefully receive, and I will go and do some breath work with her. As I say, I am starting my sober coaching training in April, and with that does come a lot of kind of breath work and meditation and things like that. So it's not just a case of giving up alcohol or drugs and then see you later, on your own. All of these things are greatly helping people. So, I think Amy's doing amazing work, now that she's kind of sober and clean. And I would recommend checking out her. It's called Amy's not not just Dry January. I'm sorry, I'm reading that. So it's a kind of look at Dry January, but check out our website. It's all in the show notes, and have a look in that page and get involved. Thank you guys. As I say, sorry about mix up on the episodes, but I don't think it really matters. As long as you're getting an episode each week, you're happy. As I say, please comment, send in on that new fan mail thing. It's quick and easy to do, and I will post it on my website. Buzzsprout have a little website. I haven't really delved into it and looked at where I can put it or what I can do with it, but there is a website. If you go and Google After Hours with Jimmy Thistle by Buzzsprout, my website comes up. It tells you all the places that you can get the website, as the podcast, as in like Apple, Spotify, Amazon, whatever. And on that is, just bits and bobs of info. I need to kind of really hone it and see what's going on. But on there, you can actually read people's comments, the fan mail that comes in. I don't like calling it fan mail because it's a bit cringe, but that's what Buzzsprout call it. So it's not me that's making that name up. I would just like to call it comments or reviews or whatever. So go and check it out. And I'm not going to tell you who we've got next week, because I've got loads recorded, but who knows what will happen. Hopefully it'll be Amy's, but we'll see when she's coming back from her little break from social media, which is, it's something that I kind of did before Christmas. I didn't really actually. I said I was going to have a little break once I'd stopped doing recording for Christmas, but I was still posting. I'm an addict. What can I say? No, I enjoy it. I enjoy putting content out to, help people and further their kind of, recovery journeys. So that's really why I kind of do my social media. I'm not constantly scrolling and doom scrolling, because I think that's kind of detrimental to people's health. But if you're scrolling for, positive content, then I'm all for that. But until next week, guys, stay safe, stay sober, and stay supportive. And like, share, and put a review, put a 5-star comment review on. And I'll see you next week. Cheers, guys. Peace.